Welcome to Bleav in 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav in 76ers is presented by betonline.ag.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the year. It's football season, and you know what that means? It means it's time to get in on BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our 150 slot games. Head to the website today and get in on the action. BetOnline. The game starts here. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav in 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash, here, legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow, and my brother Teja Dash. So we were kind of wrong about how the weekend unfolded. So we thought we thought the Raptors were going to be an easy win for us, a must win. We said with their lineup they were trotting out there, and then we all thought that Pacers were going to win the game on Sunday during their home opener, but they flipped. It flipped a little bit, completely flipped. We thought we'd have more answers on Embiid and Paul George coming into this week. We thought we'd see them this week, but it seems like they're going to be reevaluated at the end of this week. So for the time being, no Paul George or Embiid coming back soon. So that's unfortunate. But how's everyone doing?
Doing good. Are you?
Pretty good. I mean, I want more wins, but I'll take it. I'll take the one.
Against the better opponent too, so that's something for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you lose one, but you won. You made up for it, so it kind of balances out. We were wrong, but we still got the win-loss correct.
It's true. 1-1. Let's begin with these two games that we predicted. The Raptors game, which we lost. It was a unfortunate loss against a team that's very short-handed. And then we beat Indiana at their home opener. Which game surprised you guys as far as the win in Indiana or the loss in Toronto? Which one surprised you more?
I would say the loss in Toronto. Being that we had came off of a loss at home and kind of going on the road, and you don't really want to get the season off to a rocky start. I was surprised at the way the game went and got away from us. The Pacers, they're a team that if you really follow them, you can get leads on them. You can get up on them as far as on the score. They do make comebacks a lot in the second half, so it didn't surprise me that we were kind of in the game. It shouldn't have went into overtime because Halliburton took 5 steps before he did the pump fake 3 to tie it up. So it should have been won in regulation. But yeah, that don't surprise me. I just thought that it would be tougher with it being a home opener. But I think that the Pacers are still searching because they got, like I said, they got all those new guys back, and they're kind of still searching for rotations. Now they were a little settled when they had those guys out, but now I think they don't have that balance yet.
So if you were to ask me before both games, I would have said losing to the Raptors would have been my answer. But after the Raptors loss, I also would have said no way in hell we're going to win at the home opener in Indiana. So if I'm going to answer the question now, I'll say the Pacers victory being the biggest surprise to me. But it just shows you that until Embiid and George come back, we're going to continue to have a hard time against even like quote unquote, bad teams, right? Not as good teams. Because we had trouble with the Pacers last year with Embiid. So to beat them without him and George in Indiana on their home opener. I mean, it's an impressive win. And we don't know who the Pacers are this year yet. We're expecting them. When it's so early in the season, you're judging teams based on almost how they were last year. But what if they struggle this year? What if they take like a step back? They probably won't. I don't think they will, but they could. You never know, right? So you're judging teams based on like last season and when teams beat you. Let's say Toronto comes out and they're a contender this year. I don't know, going by last year's trends and whatnot, but you never know, right? You don't know who the teams are going to be. Like, this is setting up who they're going to be for the season. What hurts about this is that it's an adjustment period needed for such a new roster that we have, but we're going to have to readjust again once we get one of those two guys back, and then readjust again once some of the other guy comes back. So there's just going to be a lot of readjustment periods this year for us, but it's good that the one positive I have in this is that this group right now without George and Embiid, based on the no back-to-backs and these guys missing time, this is going to be the team we see play a lot since Embiid and George will be out a lot of games. So it's good that this team gets to know each other first and foremost on the court.
And I'll say this about Toronto. Last night, Toronto had a pretty commanding lead over the Denver Nuggets, and then they ended up coming back and going to overtime. But Toronto doesn't look like an easy out as we thought going into that Friday matchup. They look like a tough team.
But Barrett played in that game though against Denver, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean that does help. That matters.
True.
Yeah, he had a good game too. Yeah.
Yeah, but
so even with those,
Toronto's historically, no matter what team they had, has always played well at home. It's always been sort of a game that, no matter what team they had, they could beat anybody. I mean, even going back to Damon Stoudemire, I believe, beating the Chicago Bulls twice, I think, when they won 72 games.
Yeah.
And they were an expansion team. Yeah, I know they beat them once. I believe they beat them 2 times.
That season? Look that up.
That season, yeah. And a lot of times they used to always play them early Sunday games. A lot of guys that didn't like playing those early Sunday games because
I think it was one. I have to look into it more.
Oh, interesting. That's funny. That's funny, Eric.
Yeah, it's a hangout spot because everything is 18 and up.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. There you go.
So it's a hot hangout spot that people don't realize that.
When the 95-96 Bulls are mentioned in Toronto today, the first thing anyone remembers is how the expansion Raptors made history at the Sky Dome on that fateful Sunday afternoon in March. The game was so special, we made the city so proud. So I know they have one of those. I don't know if they have 2, but still, I
know they beat them though. I knew they beat them.
Yeah.
One of those games that they lost were against Toronto.
Crazy.
Was that 95 or 96, Tej?
95-96 season.
It was 95-96.
Yeah.
It was my rookie year when we beat them. We had one of those. We beat them one time, so we had one of those losses too.
That's cool. Yeah. You guys and the Raptors, man, you got 2 of those 10 losses. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, crazy. That was crazy.
All right. I didn't have this as a topic for us to talk about today, but what do you guys make of Embiid getting? I know everyone's talking about Embiid with the whole the investigation, which we talked about last week, but Embiid's getting fined for this Pacers game by the league for having his towel up when Nembhard was shooting free throws at the end of that game. I mean, you can't wave the towel from the bench anymore.
Yeah, I think that's a point of emphasis. They put that in like recently, where you can't do that from the bench. Can't wave objects. Yeah, that's. I didn't know it was a fine unless you've been warned. I thought it was just a technical. Maybe the technical is the fine, but yeah, that's been a thing. That's why you don't see guys doing it.
Hey, he missed one of those, so
Yeah.
well worth a technical the next game.
Yeah. Well, the Sixers fan base is going nuts about it, saying the NBA has a hard on for Joel Embiid right now. And
No, that's a league rule. That's a league rule. That's not just a Sixer thing. Yeah.
You know the fan base though, Eric. They're gonna wear like a jacket. Hey, we got a target. We got a bullseye on our back, guys. Look at that.
It seems like some rules are just for us. It appears that way sometimes.
It's true. And I also Sixer fans bringing up Ben Simmons being ruled out today for injury load management for his back, saying that that Brooklyn Nets should have an investigation on that. Adam Silver needs to have an investigation on the Nets for the way they're handling Ben Simmons over the last 2 or 3 years.
I think there are a lot of guys that could do that with. That's the crazy thing. I don't even mind the Embiid investigation, but it's all over the place. How can you single out one guy nowadays for that? It's weird.
I mean, because everybody else played in the first game for the most part, or the second game.
Yeah.
And if they didn't, they were listed with a significant injury, with an injury. The issue is Joel is not listed with an injury. Is ramping up. He's not listed. There's no injury. He's not on the injury report.
Yeah.
It's the start of the season. So what is it?
Because Kawhi has an injury designation, right?
Yeah. I mean, his knee or whatever, he had a procedure, he's listed as out.
Yeah.
Indefinitely. Knee, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Middleton is out with the Bucks. He has his ankle surgery. Like everybody has something. That's the puzzling thing with the Sixers and Joel is we don't really know why.
Well, the question is, why not just list why? I don't get it. You list it, you have to kind of show what's going on. You have to show x-rays to the NBA. I mean, you just list it.
Well, I mean, you don't have to really show it, but if you get investigated and you just put that in there, then that's a huge fine. You're lying.
I mean, how much more is that fine than
you may not have to show it right away, but you may have to show it if they come investigate. I'm just saying, but that's worse though, for you to put something out there and not be honest about it, other than we just want to arrest him.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I bet they
just don't think he's ready.
His knee's swollen. I mean, they're gonna ask for pictures. I mean, it was swollen before the game. We couldn't play him. That's it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It could be, but I'm just saying, whatever it is something that's keeping him out from playing the game, because it went from first game to the first week, and now, like I said before, it would be into the next week.
Yeah,
because you don't. When guys get injured and you talk about playing, guys don't really hear. If you really want to come back and you're really close to coming back, guys don't really talk about when they're out. They only talk about when they're back. So a guy isn't going to say, well, he's out this week. Oh, he's out Wednesday. He's out Friday. It's like, I'm going to play Sunday. You eliminate any questions.
Yeah.
For some reason you don't. We had a setback. Now I have to reevaluate it. But we just when they played this weekend on the road and then Monday came, I was like, oh, they're not going to play Wednesday. They're not going to play Wednesday. Which really concerns me because we play Wednesday. Now you've got a full week off. So you play Wednesday and then we don't play again until Saturday, correct?
Yeah.
But then we play every other day, including the 3-game road trip.
Yeah, West Coast road trip.
How can that be better? How can that be better than playing this week and unless they just don't want to go in and out of the lineup. I don't know. I mean, are they going to come back for that? Because those road games are going to be like we. That's a tough trip. You know, Phoenix, LA.
Yeah, because the Clippers are playing great. They're not some pushover like people thought they were going to be. They're playing really well.
All what 3-1 or 2-1 teams? Like, come on, man. And we got to face the wall against the Clippers. You know, you never know how that's going to be when you get in there.
If we miss some of these games and they play all those road games, then I'll understand. Okay, I'll understand why it happened now, right? But if we don't, then it's man. It'll make a little more sense. They held him out of these games to have him just come full throttle starting at the road trip. But if they miss this and that, then it's like at some point they have to talk about like the injury. You can't miss first 2-3 weeks of a season and just be we're getting there. Close.
Ramping it up.
I mean, man, ramping it up. I mean,
that's what they said.
A long ramp up.
They said last week he was ramping up. Not last week, the week before the season started, he was ramping it up. And then they said he wouldn't play the first game. And then they said he wouldn't play the first week. And now they're saying he won't play Wednesday.
Yeah.
Just because he's ramping it up?
I've heard more updates about George. They're saying he's close, but I haven't heard the same update with Embiid. It's just still ramping it up.
I mean, first they said George was playing, and then they came out and said he wasn't, correct?
I saw one account say he was probably going to play Detroit, but I don't think that was a legit report, at least that I saw. I heard that he was close, but that's it.
So let me ask a question here. Close, and 2 more days is going to get you closer to playing. To me, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Friday, it's not that big a difference. I see it from a perspective. If I play Wednesday, I got 2 days off.
Yeah.
So it concerns me if they're not playing Wednesday. Because you, in my opinion, you play because you have 2 days off.
Yeah.
You play, you have those 2 days off, then you kind of manage and kind of game plan or how it felt, how you want to move forward for the next game, ramp up, minutes going up, minutes going down, like how you kind of get a plan and blueprint for how you want to move forward into the season. And then you play Saturday against a team that's very capable of beating us. So you don't really know. So now you play Saturday, and then after that game Saturday, you wake up the next day and fly on the other side of the country. So you telling me that's better than playing Wednesday?
And then resting?
And then resting?
Yeah. It's never going to make sense. Whenever they do come back, it'll be a day or two after they weren't ready to come back. So how are you not ready one day and then ready a day or two later? It's never going to make sense whenever they do come back, I think. It's going to be just impossible to make sense of it. Yeah. I can see having them come back and then evaluate how his knee's doing after playing in a game.
I mean, I don't know. I'm different. I see it from a Paul perspective. Wouldn't you want to play against the Clippers?
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah. If that's his goal, I would hope that's his goal.
But wouldn't you want to play before you play the Clippers?
Yeah. What, the first game is Phoenix on that trip?
Yeah. Phoenix, Clippers, Lakers.
Okay. So yeah, he might.
So
again,
I'd expect Paul to probably play a game or two before the Clipper game. If I had to guess, it may not mean that. It may not mean very, very much to him. Like them return home games aren't always easy. I don't know.
Yeah, the Newbeck report was both will be reassessed later in the week. So I wonder
What?
if they're on that. The Kyle Newbeck report was
Later in
both
the
will
week?
be. Yeah.
So later in the week. Later in the week, and it's only one game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that means that they'd want them to be on the same timeline? Like they want them to come back together? Like if they play, it'll be like Embiid and Paul George will come back at the same time together? I mean, if they're both being
I don't know
reassessed the same.
I don't know how you do that. I just think that right now it's just easier for them to say the same thing about each one of them. But I think when one's ready, if you're ready, you come back. I don't think they can kind of wait for the other. Like I just don't think you can do that.
So if they do come back
and really care about winning, I don't think you can do that.
So if they come back the same game, you think it was just pure coincidence?
I think if they come back in the same game, if it's Saturday, I don't think it's coincidence. I think it was planned that they didn't play Wednesday and take the whole week off.
Okay. Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't see how they can, all of a sudden just,
show up.
But I'm different, so it's. I keep saying that, but if you can play one day, you could have played the day before. So,
all eyes on the report on Friday at the later in the week when they get reassessed. So hopefully good news comes so we can see our guys hopefully this weekend. All right, so next topic. So there's been a lot of chatter on social media about Tyrese Maxey's shot attempts, shooting a franchise record 86 shots through the first 3 games of the season. Against the Pacers, he only had 7 points in the first half, but ended up scoring 38 of the team's 57 points in the second half, including overtime. So what do you guys make of Tyrese Maxey's start to the season?
So AI's never done that? Shot more than that?
That's the first thing I thought. That's the first thing I thought.
Apparently not. It's crazy.
I mean, because AI could do it, so easily. You know what I'm saying? No, he's done it in a 3-game stretch. I'm just saying for the start of the season, that kind of when you sent that and I read it, that was like kind of shocked me. I wouldn't have thought that. But he is shooting a lot.
863 games
a lot. I mean, he's shooting the ball a lot. What's his percentage? I don't have it right in front of me.
30.
And what's his 3-point percentage?
3-point, I think, is 26, 24, and his field goal, I think, is like in the 30s, like 36, I think.
Is that high?
So his field goal percentage is 34.9%. His 3-point percentage is 23.7%.
24, yeah.
34 and 23.
Yeah.
And how many free throws a game? I know he had a lot of free throws that last game.
10. Yeah, about 10 free throws a game.
So you're shooting what? 28 times a game and 10 free throws. Wow. I guess somebody done told him we got to play like that for us to win or something, because I don't have a problem with I think he has the energy and the motor to take a lot of shots. But I do feel his shot selection is the reason why his percentage is so low. I mean, he is taking some questionable shots that he had some flashes of that in the past, but not so much in one game or two games in the first 3 games. Like he's had a lot of shots that I felt were questionable. Even shots that he made, I thought were questionable. I mean, he just made them. But I firmly believe that his percentage is low because of the shot selection. Because he can make shots, but that shot selection has to improve. And I believe when he does that, he makes that correction, that his percentage will go up. My concern is, how does he keep that same aggressiveness when Paul and Joel come back without taking the same amount of attempts? That's going to be an interesting balance of learning how and picking your spots of when to be aggressive and how to be aggressive, but still include those guys getting the amount of shots and touches that we all know they're going to get. But for right now, I mean, I remember, was it 1 or 2 episodes ago, you asked me who would probably be the second guy, and Kelly's been that guy. They've both taken a decent amount of shots. I do have an additional concern with the shots they're taking. And that is, and I think it's part of the reason why we get stagnant sometimes, a lot of their shots seems to be just no offense, one-on-one, just go one-on-one, just my turn, you like my turn ball. It kind of looks like that. It kind of looks like it's just one-on-one and no kind of set. I know that's probably not the case. Can't say I pay attention to calls and stuff like that when I'm watching. I'm just watching the game, but it does come off as you're kind of playing one-on-one, which goes into some of the shot selection. I don't know. I mean, maybe you guys see it differently, but that's kind of how I see it.
Well, every team. Well, actually, you know what? We see Toronto 11. So we actually the starters out assisted the Toronto starters, which is surprising given our problems. But against Indiana, again, we reverted back to we had 8 assists in the starters. I mean, Nembhard had 8 assists by himself. So starters are out assisting us by a lot, besides the Toronto game, but they were also missing their starting point guard. So that makes sense too, right? But even that game, I think they had 11 and we had 4, 8, 12, 14, or no, 12. So even the one game we did out of going back to the AI thing, I looked it up. 84 AI's season high first 3 games of shot attempts. 84.
Yeah.
The 2001.
That's why I said I knew the AI was somewhere. I knew it was close for him. I mean, that's not 30 shots a game. That's why I know he had some stretches where he was putting up 30 plus, but it takes a lot of energy to do that, man. In the NBA, trust me on that.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to beat out AI's 10-game record.
No,
that's not going to happen. For the first 10 games,
he don't have the energy to do that, man. Trust me.
He was shooting 30, 35, 30, 24, 31, 26, 29, 30. He was getting them up. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. And that's the season that he missed the first 5 games.
Yeah. So it was season after the finals, right?
Yeah, so he came ramped, ready to go after missing those 5 games. So yeah.
Or the season after that. I know he had him and Aaron both had an off-season procedure. Everybody, and I did too. Like all 3 of us did, I Bleav.
Yeah.
And you all ramped up the first 2 weeks of the season. I was making a joke about the.
We were ramping up. Yeah, I mean AI. Like if AI didn't play, man, it wasn't no ramping up for him. Like they told him to ramp up. We like, man, just take me out of practice. I'm gonna play in the games.
Yeah, and that's back when they had like 5 games in a week too. You know what I mean? Like from the 30th to the 8th, that was 5 games. So,
we never had a week like they're having right now. 1 game in a week, and from Sunday to Saturday, only 1 game. Never had that. Seasons was because we started later than we started 2 weeks later than they start right now. At least 2 weeks to an additional 4 days on top of that 2 weeks.
I mean, I'm looking at one right now from December 1st to the 8th, 6 games. I mean, that's a grind, dude. That's a grind. Like,
so we had 4 games. I think you would have like 4 games in 5 nights. You maybe had 2 or 3 of those, maybe 4.
Yeah,
3 games
December
in 4
1st
nights. You had 3 or 4 of those. Yeah,
2 back-to-backs in 5 days.
Yes, and probably 2 of them on the road.
Actually,
because we never played back-to-back home games.
In that 8-game stretch, you had 3 back-to-backs. You had 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 7th, 8th. It was 1 day off, 2 days on.
I'm telling you guys, when I'm telling you guys about the schedule, I'm like, guys, it's night and day. They couldn't play that schedule.
Guys' legs would fall off doing that now.
You couldn't. That's what I'm saying. You couldn't. It's totally different with the scheduling.
That's crazy.
And that's what I'm saying. So I guarantee you. But the interesting thing now is they allow them to play home games back to back. We didn't play home games back to back. So if it was home games, if it was back to backs, only 1 of them was at home. So the majority of your back to backs are on the road. So you got to travel on top of that.
So this stretch is brutal. So that December 1st to December 8th, you had December 1st to 2nd. It was a back-to-back flying. So 1 game was at Chicago. The next game was back in Philly on a back-to-back. And then the 4th and 5th, they were on the road. Granted, it was Sacramento, Gold State, but still, you're traveling on a back-to-back. I don't care how long it is. It's brutal. And then the next back-to-back, you had 1 day of rest. And then the 7th to 8th, you went from San Antonio to Memphis on a back-to-back. So that's 2 straight back-to-back travels. So 4 straight travel back-to-back games. That's crazy.
6 games in 8 days in what? 5 of them on the road?
Yeah. You played you played 5 games in I'm sorry. Yeah, that one too. Yeah. Yeah, so at Chicago, back to Philly. And then man, that's crazy, man. That's a grind.
So this is why like the schedule. This is why the schedule changed, because it was stuff like this. So, but whether guys were available, like if guys were out, they were really injured. They were out. So that's why I said the schedule it's made for like right now. That's why you have a lot of older guys be like, man, I would never miss a game just to miss it based on how we played. I mean, AI got more criticism for talking about practice than guys get for missing games.
That's just crazy, man.
And I Bleav somebody, maybe Gilbert Arenas, or somebody said that same exact thing. But that's a true fact. That's a true statement. I think my son sent me, Gilbert did say that. My son sent me that, or a Gilbert show or something. But yeah, that's a real fact.
It's common too. I see another one. Christmas, the 26th, back to back. Then 28th and 29th, back to back on travel. All travel.
We played the Lakers and the Clippers. I remember that. We played the Lakers and the Clippers back to back on Christmas Day and the day after.
And then you traveled Denver, Utah, back to back.
And back then, Christmas Day was only 1 or 2 games. It wasn't like all the games like they do right now. So we were like the only team playing. So the Clippers didn't even play that day. So we played the Lakers, and then we had to play the Clippers, who didn't play the day before.
Yeah, that
was the Disney on Ice trip. So we probably didn't get back home until early January.
Such a grind.
Yeah, that's brutal, man. Which makes him shooting 35 shots a game even more impressive. Man, as far as his arms didn't need ice.
That's what I said. You guys don't have the energy to do what AI did like that, man.
No. Yeah. As far as Maxey's usage, I mean, it's sky high, obviously, but I think for now it's just necessary that he does it. He leads the league in minutes. He leads the league in shots per game. I'd like to see his assists go up. I want to see his teammates.
I would like to see it go up, but I don't know how.
Well, the whole one-on-one thing's not helping because he's shooting 30 shots.
Saying, the way that he's getting, that's what I'm saying. The way that he's getting his shots, he's not really creating for anybody else. He's creating for him, and they're not. He's not getting him off of a structure where he's coming off and he sets a screen, he come off, catch, shoot, or you kind of make the defense go from side to side and shift where they have to help, and you can just catch it, penetrate, they help, you pass it. Like, it's no kind of flow like that. His shots are basically, I'm taking you. So it's pick and roll, ISO. So he's not really creating shots for anybody else. So that's why when other guys get shots, they're pretty much doing the same thing. Yeah. So just look at a lot of Kelly shots. He's doing the same thing. He's not catching and shooting like he was last year on certain times. He's actually catching and playmaking and trying to attack the basket. Same with Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon may be the one guy that's kind of getting a little more catch and shoot. And that's because he has the deep range, so he can spot up a little deeper than most guys. Caleb Martin isn't really, he's really playing off the bounce as well. So that's sort of how we're playing. They may feel that's an advantage that we have with different matchups, attacking them off the dribble. And I don't mind getting into the paint. I just think that we just got to be a little more selective, with the shot selection.
Yeah. I mean, his percentage is bad. It's 24%. I feel like, or 3-point percentage. I feel like his percentages will go up. I just feel like, I feel like it'll even out. He's been statistically, categorically a high percentage shooter, but he was a lot more efficient and didn't shoot as many shots. He's jacking them up right now. But even his free throws are low. His free throw is 6% lower than it was last year. So it's just not, when it's not going in, it's not going in on a lot of these. But think about it though. If his percentage
what is his hold up. What is his and I don't want to judge like early in his career. Just so let's just say maybe last year and the year before when he became a primary starter. Like, what is his percentages? Like, what is shooting percentages, 3-point percentage?
You mean pretty much when Embiid's out?
Or no, just in general. Like, what is he? How does he average out? I just want to see the difference between that. And
last year he shot 40. He shot 20 shots a game compared to 28 this year. It's a 45%.
No, I'm talking about the percentages, not percentages. Yeah, percentages.
45% last year, 35 this year. So 10 percentage points difference. 3-point percent.
That is a huge gap.
Yeah,
that's a huge gap. That's actually worse, bigger gap than I thought.
Well, his 3 points
45% from
3-point's worse. Three-point goes from 37 to 24. That's a big gap. And he's shooting almost 13 threes a game.
It's early, so it's early in the season, and maybe he will average out to sort of who he is as a player based on his career.
Yeah.
But that's a huge gap. That's a huge gap for the amount of shots that he's taking. Usually when guys shoot a little more, their percentages kind of creep up a little higher.
Like if you go to the previous
he has that low percentage shooting 86 shots.
The previous year he shot 48% from 2 or 48% overall. And then if you compare it to last year, 45, he shot 5 more times a game. So his percentage went down 3 points with 5 more shots, right? That's more of like a normal. That's more normal, right?
Yeah.
3% less, still pretty good. To go up 5 shots, only lose 3%. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's taking 8, almost 9 more shots a game this year. I guess by that rate, it should go down like 5%. So, yeah, 10% is a lot. He should be around 40 at the worst, I feel right now. But you gave him 40% from 2 and a higher percentage from 3. He'd be averaging like 38 a game right now. So
I'm saying like 40% overall, like from 2, and you. Hopefully, that's not a trend for the season.
Yeah,
I know guys, have started out shooting lower, but he's too good of a shooter. Like he almost, even like when he misses, it looks like he's gonna make it. Like all the shots feel to me like they're going in.
I know
when he's shooting it. Sometimes I can kind of see the flight of the ball and I can tell it's off. But for the most part, like he's more of the I can't believe he made that than he missed it. So, but I think it started to me the first game against Milwaukee when he came out and he took like 4 shots in the first 2 minutes. Like, if you remember the first game, he just shot it and shot it and shot it. I'm like, oh, okay, this is how he rolling this year.
Yeah, those are bad luck too. I feel like a lot of those should have gone and they rimmed out.
Yeah, but they weren't really great shots. They probably should have went in, but you could tell that he was it was a point of emphasis. So I don't know if the point of emphasis is him or is them.
Maybe both.
But it's different. It's different.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Almost 5 more threes a game.
I don't know how you turn it off or turn it down when those guys come back. I don't know how he does it. That will be very interesting to me.
Well, the ball's not in his hands. He's going to have to turn off, isn't it? He's just not going to have as much use.
He has the ball more than they do, but he has the ball more than they do.
His usage will go down. Though. You just want to.
You never know. Sometimes guys, we've seen situations where, guys feel like it's my time now. I'm not saying that that's the case, but we've seen it before.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Yeah.
That was his most 3-pointers ever attempted in a game. 17 threes was the most he's ever attempted in a game. The game against the Pacers. Second most field goal attempts he's ever attempted in a game before. The other one was last year when we played the Spurs and went to double overtime. He had 41 shot attempts that game. And the Pacers game came close to that with 32 shot attempts. So he's chucking them, baby. Chucking them. All right, so now we're going to get to our final topic. We have the Teja's boy. Tobias is returning home for his rematch, or not rematch, but his, I guess you could say revenge game or his return to home game. And Nick Nurse actually had something to say about Tobias Harris. Today they asked him about Tobias's tenure in Philadelphia. Nick Nurse said, quote, obviously rocky year last year, rocky tenure to be honest, but coaching against him going into it, we always had a game plan for him. and he always did a bunch of different things. Did the same thing for us last year. The weight of what was ever going on about his contract and his play, and did it match up, and all that kind of stuff wasn't much fun to be a part of. Really good guy who is a great pro and tried really hard and worked really hard and produced a lot. I really like him. I like him as a person. I like him as a player. He's a versatile guy and all that kind of stuff. So, Teja, I feel like Nick Nurse is talking directly to you when he made that quote about Tobias Harris. But yeah, so Tobias is coming home tomorrow night. Eric, what do you think about Nick Nurse's quote?
Would y'all say Rocky? Would y'all say Rocky tenure or just Rocky last season?
I would say Rocky last season.
What would you say?
I would say Rocky last season.
But if you say Rocky tenure and he was able to get that contract, and as much as Teja knows how much he made, how could you call that Rocky if he got that?
I would say
I'm just kind of being devil's advocate a little.
No. I would say it was Rocky until we just figured out like who he is and what he can do. And then once I knew that, I wouldn't call it Rocky.
But that's to me that was. I'm saying, but what I'm saying is that's everybody's expectations on his contract.
Yeah,
it's all been about him not living up to what people thought he should be with his contract.
Correct.
But yes. He's been consistent in what he did, or what he was able to do. That's been consistent. Just our level of expectation hasn't been consistent.
Outside of last
he
year,
couldn't meet it. So I wouldn't necessarily call it Rocky.
Outside of last year,
yes. Outside of last year, I thought last year was just outside of last year, I thought last year was just a year because I say it was that because everybody knew it was kind of the last year, and it was a new coach. So, and you know the coach is not really going to pour a lot into a guy that he knows probably not going to be there next year. So that was a tough situation, but I just kind of thought y'all wanted to see what y'all thought about that. But he's back. I mean, great guy. It's all that stuff is everything else is over with. So there's really no need to bring it back up. Just hey, thank you for what you did for Philly and move on. It'd be great to see you. You can come get this butt kicking like everybody else, and we can chop it up and say hello. That's all it is.
Yep. It's so far this year. The Pistons have actually played everyone really close. Lost to Indiana by 6, lost to Cleveland by 12, lost to Boston by 6, and lost to Miami by 8. So they've been playing tough with everybody. And Tobias giving that good veteran leadership to a young squad over there. The line isn't out yet for this game Wednesday night, but I have to imagine it'll probably be around 5.5 points. I don't know. I would say probably give us 5.5 points at home. I don't know what the spread will be, but I have to imagine. But forget the spread. Straight up, who do you think wins this game tomorrow night in Tobias' return to Philadelphia?
I think we win it. I mean, I think that guys, hopefully they understand, we kind of need to win, need to take care of home, need to win the game you're supposed to win. And then we also have to understand that, a tough game on Saturday and 3-game road trip is coming up against 3 teams that are all playing really well. So, really important game right now for this start of the season.
I think we win. I think it's a really close game, though. I think it's a game we could easily lose type game, and we squeak it out. We're just finding ourselves right now. We're shorthanded, and Pistons, despite losing these games, 3 out of 4 single-digit games against good opponents, and they feel like they can beat us. They're not. I don't think they're scared of us at all. I wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Before we go to, I looked at something else I found interesting on Maxey, right? I looked at the shots percentages by distance. So compared to last year, 0 to 3 feet away from the basket, shot 667 last year, 385 this year. That's a big one. His 3 to 10 and his 10 to 16 are both higher this year, but then his 16 feet to 3-point range was 41 last year, 20 this year. So it's close to the basket and further away. All of his middies look pretty good. It's the long twos and the short twos that are killing him right now. Just food for thought. But see, like 0 to 3, that'll even.
And that's what I'm saying. So we know historically he's shooting below his average. So hopefully he averages out. And I think part of him averaging out is most of it can be corrected by shot selection.
Yeah.
You know, some of those shots at the rim are shooting in the crowd.
Yes. Which won't happen when Embiid's there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so Pistons last time they beat the Sixers was March of 2022. So it's been a long time that they haven't gotten a dub against us. So hopefully that streak continues. But that does it for us, guys. We'll see you guys. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll see you guys Friday as we preview the beginning of a road trip and hopefully get some more information on this ramp up of PG and Embiid by the time we meet again next Friday. We hope everybody has a happy Halloween, and we'll see you guys Friday. Take it easy, fellas.
All right, guys.
Take it easy. Yep.